Babe, we're starting the show.
I know,
How's
but your hair looked silly. You had one of those like
Silly?
90s bangs that come down.
It looks
remember when that was a
amazing.
thing?
90s are in now, man. My 90s
Those
bangs look good.
little like, do you remember those antenna bangs? That
No, I never had those.
No, the girls rocked. I did that.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Look how fancy.
You're a 90s child. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
I'm an 80s child.
80s child. That's true. You're not that young. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
I was trying to, that was like a compliment. Like you look, you know what I mean. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the show. If you're watching this, you see that I was getting my hair done by Saxony. If you're listening to this, I was getting my hair done by Saxony. So you should watch it because we were laughing at each other the other day because like we're so fucking animated with our hands.
Wow.
And it's great.
Yes.
Anyways, guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Before we get started, we got a really cool conversation we want to have today. Hats off for Dallas. Cheers to you. For those of you that don't know, Saxony and I just got back yesterday from Dallas, Texas.
Beautiful state of Texas.
We spoke at my good buddy's, my good buddy Ryan Stuman's event. It was a killer event, killer lineup. The people were amazing. The whole thing was
amazing.
Fucking first class. So hats off to you, Ryan, throwing a great event. And he invited Saxony and I to speak. Mm-hmm. And Saxony has a. Well, you tell everybody how you feel about public speaking here.
It's up there with
death,
with tarantulas. It's in the top 3
of fears.
Yet I made a promise to myself a very, very long time ago that I would say yes to life. And the beautiful Amy Stuman gave me a message a couple months ago and said, "Hey, would you like to speak on stage at Ryan's event?" And I said, "Yes." And then I forgot about it. I literally was like, wrote it off. She didn't peep at it forever. And then I started seeing the little like ads come through for Million Dollar Mastermind.
They became real.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh shit, let's do it.
No, I didn't. I went,
you said let's do it.
Kidding.
And then you started seeing it. And you're like, wait a second. Pump the brakes. You did good though, babe.
You know what? That's the thing though, is I knew I was going to do it regardless if I was scared or not, because that's just how I live my life.
They actually asked us before we got married to tell you how long ago that was, like 2 months ago, 2.5, 3 months ago, when Amy asked. And Saxony has an extreme fear of public speaking. And how many times do you think we were in the bathtub and had this conversation? 25?
No, I bet half a dozen. Maybe 10.
We had a lot of late night conversations about it, and it was weird. It was interesting for me because I get up there, I'm like, let's go. Like I'm comfortable. Give me on the fucking stage. Give me the mic. And it was hard for me in a couple different ways because one, I was just like, yeah, just sack up. Let's go. Let's just fucking do it. You're gonna be great. Talk about this. You're gonna be fine. And you were so resistant to it, but you did good, babe. You did amazing. It wasn't that I was
resistant. It was that
you were
I had to. It was when I said to you, I said, help me fight my demons. Don't, I wanted you to team up with me on that because I knew I was going to do it. And I know that you're a strong source of encouragement and strength and experience in that. So it was like, you're my best friend. Help me fight these demons because you have some tools to help me do this and accomplish it. And it ended up being awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I learned a lesson, and I wanted to share this for a reason. Number one, to talk about it because there were a couple of takeaways that we had. But one of the takeaways that I had is in that space leading up to it, I'm very much, and guys pay attention to this because I think this is very important. We're very much go get them, sack up, let's go, let's run, jump off the cliff. At least I am, right? And that's probably my DNA and my nature, ready, fire, aim kind of a deal. And so having Saxony like wanting to come in and talking about this, and I'm nervous and I'm scared and what am I going to say? And I don't know if I'm going to do this. I'm going to freeze and the whole thing. Like I got to a point where I was like, I'm fucking done hearing this. Just let's go do this. But I realized that holding space, this thing that we keep talking about, is very, very, very amazing and hard at the same time. I just needed to shut up and just listen and let you have your experience of being scared and being all this other stuff. And then when it came down to it, it was like, game on, let's fucking go. And I knew you would do it. Yeah. And you did good.
Absolutely.
What was your biggest takeaway? What was your biggest takeaway specifically with speaking? Like with the actual, not like, what was your biggest takeaway with speaking?
The biggest takeaway for me was definitely like literally mid-sentence, I could feel the exchange of what my head was saying, what my heart was saying. And every time I was like, oh shit, go back. Like, stay in your heart. Because there's a massive difference of delivery and energy and everything. It was like when I go to my head, like, oh, because there's only fear and ego and all this stuff going on. The minute I went back to my heart, I was like, just speak my truth.
Yeah.
Just be here now. So that was a big thing for me.
It was good. You got to do scary shit.
You absolutely have to.
It was really cool too to be able to do it with you, to see how many people were just like so excited about hearing you and seeing the Instagram message of people like, I'm so excited to hear you speak. And you're like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm going to talk about.
I was very comfortable just dancing.
So Saxony had 45-minute scheduled time to talk. Her talk was 6 minutes. She ended at 6 minutes. And so we essentially did a Sean and Sax show live.
Right. Which was the original plan.
It was cool.
Which was the original plan. It wasn't that I was going to.
Yeah. When Ryan and Amy came and spoke at my event last year, Amy was kind of in the same spot. Like, I don't know what to talk about because I invited her to speak. I just realized that's probably then like getting, like, I asked them to speak and now they're like, fuck you, we're going to get you to come speak too, right? You're scared too. Well, you're going to come speak at our event.
Dude, Amy slayed it though.
But she killed it. And you did too. But like you came out, or, Amy went and spoke and then Ryan came out and kind of like, they just ping pong back and forth. Mm-hmm. And so we had 2 chairs. If you were there, we're talking about. If not, they brought 2 chairs out and I sat in a chair, kind of like their show. And then you spoke and I was sitting there and then we just did live Q&A and dropped a couple nuggets on people and it ended up really good.
I'm so grateful for it all.
Guys, do scary shit together.
Do
scary shit together. And men, support your woman in doing scary shit. And ladies, support your man in doing scary shit. And I really think the more scary shit that you can do together, it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
you really get to learn a lot about each other because like you wouldn't have known what that process of working through something like that would be because it's not necessarily your thing. That doesn't bug you like it bugs me, and other things, I'm more comfortable at than you. And it's dope to have to or get to step into that space of being like, all right, like, what do I have to learn here? How can I be a better partner? What can I learn about just showing up, especially being a coach? Like, there's different flavors, there's different levels to this. And it was a rad experience overall.
Yeah, it was cool. We did good. It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Again, shout out to Ryan. Cool freaking event. The other thing I would say, just one more thought on this, is for people to experience masterminds and to experience different things. I don't want to turn this into like the business conversation, but the reality is there were so many cool couples that were there that we met that had really, really, really rad experiences. So I strongly we strongly encourage you guys to get together as a couple and to go experience masterminds, go experience different events, go to business ones, to networking ones, to relationship ones, whatever. Having us be there and seeing some of the speakers and sitting and listening to some of the speakers together, learning what we learned together, but also being in that environment, it's fucking crucial, man. Mm-hmm. It's so imperative for you guys to expand and to grow, but to do it together. I know there's a lot of men, that have the business end of things, right? And I'm not stereotyping, but like, men, if you're out doing your own thing, like you go and you learn and you hire coaches, and having your woman experience some of that, I think is really, really, really important. We tend to go out and say, oh, this is a business write-off. I'm going to go to this deal or that deal. But there were a lot of couples that came together that I saw had really, really, really impactful experiences. Mm-hmm. But it's also, guys, newsflash, listen, like, you want to have your woman support you. Like, you want to have your woman be by your side. You want to have your woman like really, really, really being on team business with you. Bring her into your world. Mm-hmm. Bring her into some of these events. Bring her into some of these masterminds and watch what happens. Because then she'll be like, oh, shit. This is the guy that I hear you always listening to his podcast. Now I get to see him. Now I get to meet him. Oh, this is the conversation. This is the energy. It's just a little way not only for you guys to grow, but to connect. I think too, you got to meet a bunch of my friends.
For sure. You
got to meet a bunch of people that you've only seen via social media and putting now the face to the name and then seeing them on stage and vibing with them. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Now I see why I get to do what you do.
It's just good juju. It's just good energy. It's motivating. Mm-hmm. It's connecting. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, babe.
Good job. All right. Hats off to you. Okay, guys, we want to talk about something really specific today with regards to relationships and past relationships.
One of looking in the rear view today.
Looking in the rear view. We're not looking in the rear view. We're discussing what it's like looking in the rear view mirror. And this has come up in for a lot of things, but I think something that really makes this poignant to me today is having our kids just go to prom and having a really, really, really rad experience of having you and your son there and my ex-wife and my daughter there, and having the ability for us to be able to have a relationship together as a family that we're grateful for.
1,000%.
Because there's a lot of people, and I speak as someone who was in this space for so fucking long, who look at past relationships, who have experienced past relationships and attribute pain, frustration, anger, remorse, resentment to those relationships. And what we have found, and we had a conversation about this, like on the way home, about understanding like a lot of the things that we look at where we are right now and we attribute, well, this relationship was this was pain, this was frustration. Learning from these experiences and learning from these relationships is truly, in my opinion, how we've been able to rewrite what we have now. You've been in traumatic relationships. I've been in traumatic relationships. You trauma bond. You've been in a abusive relationship. I've been in an abusive relationship. We have all of the cards, if you will, for us to be able to deal out a hand of fuckery, of pain, of frustration, of anger, of bitterness. And what I have found with you and I, and what I've seen and what we've experienced is, as you rewrite these relationships as positives, it changes the entire game. It changes the entire game. And there are so many people. We had some people come up to us at the event that were like, we struggle in our relationship, and her, ex-husband is this and his ex-wife is this. And it was really interesting, the conversation of seeing a struggling relationship struggling with past relationships.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people that are struggling today in their relationships, I find, have a lot of struggle with their past relationships. And so one of the things that I have found is, I think the reason you and I have such a deeply rooted relationship and connected relationship, and the reason that you have a deeply connected relationship, like with my children and my daughter specifically, is because I have built a phenomenal relationship and friendship with their mom, my ex-wife. And I know that as I carried around frustration and anger and bitterness and resentment towards her, I was not able to build anything new. I was not able to build anything of substance that was new. What do you think about
absolutely. I actually just had this visual. I always think about, like, any experience I've had, it's like, where's the golden nugget? You know, in Mario Brothers, where like you bounce on their head and the little coin pops up. That's literally how you could look. I'm a child, people. I'm a child. You can look at it like, that was a relationship. There's your coin. Put it in your pocket, and you'll end up with this wealth of experience and knowledge if you choose to see it as valuable.
Right.
I mean, not just like, I love Summer, and I love
my ex-wife.
Actually, yes, your ex-wife. And I actually, this morning after I wrote that post, I sent that post and I wrote a little something to my ex-husband's wife, who's been in my life for 10 years. And she was the new mom, and she's come in and we've had this beautiful relationship. And I just thanked her again, as I have many, many times, for being and showing up for 10 years now. And now I get to experience that. And there's so much gratitude in it. And it's invaluable. But not even, I want to take this even deeper down, because we've touched on blended families, but you take that further back on people we haven't had children with, people we've dated that have had influence in our lives. Being in your late 30s, early 40s, you've dated a lot of people, or you've had these connections with a lot of people. And it's even like the worst ones. Like, I think about like the worst days I've ever had in relationships, like abusive, right? Most people will struggle to find gratitude from an abusive relationship. And what I learned there was who I am and what I really want in my life. And I learned how valuable I truly was when I allowed myself to be so invaluable. And that whole perspective, I would never change that. I would never change that experience. Thankfully, like, with people who have survived that, because that's a huge, that's a whole nother topic of that. But I cannot help but be grateful for it all.
One of the things, like that you just said, when you find the gratitude, this is something that I think is imperative for people listening to this to understand. Hell, 50% of marriages end in a divorce, right? I suspect that a good portion of our listeners have been through a divorce, or know somebody's been through a divorce, or maybe you're married to somebody with a divorce. For so long, I didn't have any gratitude for her, and I didn't have any appreciation. I didn't have like any type of connection with her, other than frustration and pain and anger. And that was, because I was living in that space. And you hear the quote frequently, hurt people hurt people. And so I wanted her to hurt. I wanted her to not experience the goodness of life because I was hurting. And as I went through my divorce, I was in a really, really, really dark place. And one of the very first challenges, in fact, this is like how my first post went viral. One of the very first challenges that I had from a coach, the very first coach that I ever hired, is he told me that he wanted me to write my ex-wife a letter of appreciation. Now, this is in a time where if I woke up and found out she got run over by a bus, I'd have been like, sweet, give me the kids. We're going off to fucking Disneyland, right? I was in a bad spot. Real talk. I was fucking angry. I was bitter. I was pissed off. I had resentment. I was really fucking angry, right? I did not have good feelings and good thoughts towards this woman. And when he sent me this challenge to write her a letter of appreciation, now hear me, guys, like I have a laundry list of shit that quote unquote she did. I have a laundry list of lies, of things, of she did. I could fucking spend hours talking about all these things. And when he challenged me to do this, I was like, no, I'll climb the tallest mountain. I will drag my balls through glass. I will fucking drink dog shit. I eat dog shit. I literally was so fucking resistant. No, this is real. Like, this is where men and women are.
Yep.
We carry around so much fucking anger and bitterness towards our ex. And the idea of me appreciating her was like, fuck that. No. Hard no. And he pushed me on this. He's like, we're not literally moving forward to anything else. I'm not coaching you on anything else. We're not talking about anything else until you write this woman a letter of appreciation. And it took me 3 months to write this letter. 3 fucking months of me trying to get out of it, trying to do something different, trying to get him to tell me to do something different. And it was a hard line, like, you write this letter. And I will never forget, as long as I live, writing that letter, like, hey, I appreciate you being a good mom. And secretly I was like, fuck you. Thanks for being out there for the kids. Fuck you, right? There was not a lot of genuineness in that reality. Now, a lot of people question that, say, well, why would I do that if it's not real, whatever. Here's the lesson. Here's the real game that you have to understand, is that letter wasn't for her. Like, that letter wasn't for my kids. That letter wasn't for us to build something new. That letter was because I was hanging on fucking anger, and I had never really stepped into my own accountability. I didn't step into my own accountability for the relationship, both good and bad. I didn't step into my own ownership of where I really was and the pain that I really inflicted and the lies that I told and the things that, I attributed all to her. Sure. I hadn't stepped into that space. And, this is a story some people have heard, but if you haven't, this is how it went. For 14 months, I wrote her letters of appreciation. I sent her positive messages, emails, text messages for 14 months before she ever even said thank you. Before she ever said thank you. And I would send sticky notes with the kids. I would send a letter with the kids. I'd write a 2 or 3 sentence email. Hey, thanks for the kids. And, whatever. Have a great week, kind of a deal. 14 months. What happened during those 14 months is I changed. And I started finding appreciation. And I started realizing, like, my own darkness, my own pain, my own frustration. She did a lot of fucking dumb shit. She lied. She said things that weren't true. That's all real. But so did I. And I think anybody listening to this right now that would call their ex a narcissist, an abuser of this or that, it might be true. That might be real. You might have been abused. You might have been smacked around. You might have been lied to. You might have been cheated on, whatever the fuck it is. That's very, very, very possibly real. That could be real. Sure. But at the same time, you hold the other set of cards in this relationship too. And the idea that somehow like I was the victim and I was like, it was because I was in pain.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned over those 14 months and since that, like literally the last 12 years, as I've built this relationship with this woman and the phenomenal friendship that I have with my ex-wife and seeing you create this friendship with her, is that there were so many amazingly valuable lessons in not only our marriage, but our divorce and the subsequent building of this relationship for me.
Yeah.
And I am a better man today because of that. I'm a better man because of the pain, quote unquote pain. I'm a better father. I can connect better with my kids because I experienced lies and quote unquote trauma and deception in these relationships. I'm a better man today because of it. I'm a better man because I had been cheated on. I'm a better man because I was in a physically abusive relationship and allowed a woman to lay her hands on me. I'm a better man today. And what's really fascinating is I can't not have appreciation for that. Mm-hmm. I can't not have appreciation for that. And you're talking to an egomaniac. You're talking to a dude who's like got an ego the size of fucking New Jersey, right? Like, but the truth is, I'm a better man because of these experiences, because of the people that I was with, because of the experiences that I had with them. And for that, I have tremendous gratitude.
Yes.
And I have tremendous gratitude for these people that played an instrumental part of me learning these things. Mm-hmm. Now, this is hard for a lot of people to hear. And I want you to talk about this and add to this. This is really hard for a lot of people to hear. And what a lot of people are probably saying right now is, but wait, pump the brakes. You don't know how big of a dick he was. You don't know, Sean, how big of a whore she was. You don't realize that she fucked all my friends and all my neighbors. You don't realize that he beat the shit out of me and he lied. This all might be real. That might be true. The truth of the matter is this. If you're still in a place of pain, of anger, of frustration, you haven't learned the lesson yet.
Mm-hmm. That's on you,
haven't
honey.
fucking learned the lesson yet. Men, yes. Women, guys, gals, you haven't learned the fucking lesson yet. And that's the truth. Now, does that mean that you need to become BFFs with your abuser? No. Does that mean that you need to be BFFs with somebody that you don't have any children with? No. But I'd have you consider for a second that the second that you actually flip the switch and appreciate the experiences that you've had, appreciate the lessons that you learned in the places of the darkness, in the darkest, most painful spots you've ever been in, that's when you grow. Mm-hmm. When you look at that experience and that human being with gratitude and say, thank you for teaching me these things. Thank you for showing me these things. That's that next level shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, that was so good, babe. I had so many things.
Let's go home.
Bye
now.
I had so many things pop in my head, and like karmic soulmates and being the. I mean, I've been the villain in many people's stories, and I will own that all day long. That's spectacular. That was so good, babe. So think about this, like when you were going through that, thinking about like affairs, because cheating is a thing, and I experienced being cheated on, and I stayed in counseling for a year and a half. And I realized I can't do it. Like I realized that's a thing that I wasn't able to work through. Now that was that relationship, that time, whatever. But my biggest lesson is I used to be a cheater. I've cheated on people in my life. And I remember the big God moments of stepping back and not seeing this person who cheated on me as such a villain. And not seeing myself as such a villain, but realizing that we're all here having experiences, being humans, trying to navigate, human trauma, spiritual, all these interconnected things and show up in our best space. And I have not always been in my best space. So say if someone, consider this, guys, if someone has done you wrong in life, consider have you done someone else wrong in your life? And maybe the best thing you can do is accept their humanness. Forgive them. Doesn't mean you have to be friends. Like you said, you don't have to be friends with them, but forgive them for your own sake and knowing that you too are a villain in someone else's story. Mm-hmm. And that will help you forgive yourself for what you've done. Like I look back and I could be totally bummed out about things that I've done. But what I've realized is like, I'm just learning lessons in life, and my end all goal is to become a better human. And as I've gone forward, I can look back and say, am I better today? Am I better? Are my core values, the way I show up, the way I love, the way I connect, the way I parent, everything, am I better today than I was yesterday? And if the answer is yes, then I'm doing it right. Mm-hmm. And if you have the same grace with other people in your life that you've had intimate relationships with, I mean, my God, live life lighter that way. Mm-hmm. And so, there's so much heaviness. I know people, we've mentioned this before in the podcast, but they have so much heaviness in these past relationships. And it's like, how is that serving you? And I truly believe that they're so afraid to let go because they have their own shames and they're just caught in this shame cycle, and they literally don't know where the light is anymore. Right. And just start little by little, just saying, like I love that about like the notes. Mm-hmm. Thank you. It doesn't have to be this big, like pouring out of my heart, but just thank you. Like those little practices will start lightening your load.
Right. Well, imagine this for a second, guys. Imagine you had a traumatic relationship. Call it whatever you want. Abuse, okay? Verbal, physical, emotional, whatever it is. That's real. You experienced it, okay? Mm-hmm. Whether you were the victim, the villain, whatever it is in the story. Let's just, for a second, we'll make an assumption and say that you were physically abused, right? That happened. That is truth, right? While you carry around anger, frustration, bitterness, while you build giant fucking walls, right? Mm-hmm. You talk about the Great Wall of China and multiply that by 50, and that's what some people carry around, right? Mm-hmm. How is it that and this is a rhetorical question, how is it that you will build anything new with someone new while you carry around anger, frustration, and bitterness? This is what I didn't understand. So long as I was angry and bitter with her, I hadn't learned the lesson. So long as I was angry and bitter with my ex, I hadn't learned the lesson. So long as I didn't understand the appreciation of being a different man, of learning these things, I was never going to build anything new. Mm-hmm. I was never going to build anything different because I had the walls, I had the connection. But think of this for a second. Like, you're trying to create love with a new human being, right? Again, this goes both ways for people that are married, that have been together, that are together, that maybe don't have that together themselves, or for people from the past. It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. We're always building something new. We're creating something new every day. Whether you've been married for 20 years, whether you were divorced and you're trying to get married, whatever it is, it's the same reality. But imagine for a second that you're carrying around bitterness and angerness towards somebody. How is it that you walk into something new, clean, pure, open, whole? Call it whatever you want. This isn't hippy dippy shit.
No.
There are a lot of angry fucking men and a lot of angry women. There are a lot of women that got divorced, that were wronged by their man, quote unquote, that were lied to, that were cheated on. There's a lot of dudes that fuck her, she was a bitch, she didn't, whatever. So long as you carry that shit around, number one, you're not capable of creating something new because you're still holding on to anger. It's the old Buddhist saying, right? Mm-hmm. Like, carrying around anger is literally like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Mm-hmm. You're literally drinking poison every day through your anger, through your bitterness. You fucking go on new dates and all you talk about is how big of a piece of shit your ex was. How many dates did you go on where you talked about your ex, or they talked about their ex? Where dudes, you've told me about this. Guys would show up and be like, my ex was a bitch. My ex was this. And somehow they're expecting you to like fall in love with them through this trauma. Or fellas going out with girls, they're like, oh, my ex, he was a cheater. He was a liar. He's a piece of shit. Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him, fuck him. And somehow like you think that you're building something new. You're literally drinking poison by holding on to the anger and the pain and the frustration, expecting them to die. Mm-hmm. And who's really drowning?
Right.
Who's really dying?
Yeah. It's such a beautiful perspective when you finally accept it. Right. When you finally are like, all right, this is my shit. I love the analogy of we are each other's mirrors, because that's been proven to be truth for me. I can look at relationships, like we'll go back to my abusive one, I look at that and I think about, how did I even get in that space? I truly chose to be in there until I chose to not be in there. You know, I gratefully pulled my head out of my ass and got out of there. But I look at it and it's like, where was I in a space to even be in that relationship? Right. I can villainize this person all day long, but what the fuck was I even doing there in the first place? My mirror was, girl, love yourself. Like, love yourself. And that was my golden nugget out of that. That is my absolute golden nugget was, thank God, I'm learning now that I really need to step up my game. I need to learn to love myself. Being in a relationship where I got sued. I literally got sued out of my house. I broke promises to my kids. It was the most heart-wrenching thing I've ever been through. But the thing is it's like, Sax, you learning that in that relationship, going through what I went through, I learned surrendering.
Yeah.
I learned that literally the more I wiggled, the more I fought, the more I resisted, the harder they would push on me. The harder the experience would be for me and my children. And when I finally surrendered, I was invincible. Like you could take everything materialistic from me, take it. You will never have my joy. You will never have my heart. You will never have my happiness. And that to me is more valuable than anything. And that was my golden nugget. I was like, thank God I went through that. So then when this man walks into my life years later, I can take all this wisdom that I have and know that I can say, you know, where am I? I can see my reflection out of you and know that I see my highest self in you. And this might sound hippy dippy, but this is a real thing. Believe in this. This is powerful, guys. Is I can look at you and I truly see my most powerful reflection getting on stage. You just being my partner helps level me up just in who you are. And that to me, and I can say that, like, girl, you're on the right path. You're really, I'm all in and I have all this wisdom, and it's not baggage, it's wisdom. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I don't know that we're pure. To me, I feel like I'm wealthy beyond measure with this pure heart. Right. And that to me is exactly how I want to be every single day of my life. And I just spend one moment, if you can, guys, if you're struggling, spend one moment and maybe just write a list of things that you can find to be grateful for all this past, and focus on that. Give that life. Yeah.
I think what you just said, I was going to literally echo that and say, now what, right? Mm-hmm. You're hearing this, you're hearing us talk about this. Maybe this doesn't apply to you. Maybe you've never had any traumatic experience. Maybe you love every single person that's ever been in your life. You have nobody that you're angry at, no boss, no lover, no coach, no anybody. You just fucking love everybody. Cool, great, good for you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good job.
You win, right? But I would be willing to bet that probably 99.9% of people listening to this that are honest with themselves are carrying around some sort of anger, frustration, bitterness, resentment towards someone in their past. Mom, dad, brother, sister, lover, whatever it is, right? This is not just applicable to lovers. This is applicable to any reality, any reality of any relationship that you've ever had. I will, what you just said about making a list of gratitude, literally the challenge that I would issue you is, if you have this reality in that you're angry, bitter, resentful, literally write that person, and maybe maybe you have a restraining order, you can't, fine, whatever. Like, we'll take it to the extremes.
You can write it to the
no, write it, but no, listen, write it. I want you to write it. You don't have to send it to them, but I would challenge you that if there isn't that there,
they could do a full moon ceremony and set it on fire.
Right, you can set it on fire. You can do whatever you want, but I would challenge you to find the appreciation for that person. And I promise you, as someone who went through this personally and carried a lot of fucking anger. I drank poison. I was drinking poison by the fucking gallon. I was drinking poison by the gallon, y'all. Like, I was so angry and so bitter, hoping that this other person would die. And I was the one that was drowning. My challenge to you would be this. Find the gratitude. Find the lesson. Find the appreciation. When you see that person, when you visualize that person that you hold right now in a place of frustration, bitterness, anger, resentment, when you want to like lash out at that person and say, you did, you made me feel all of these other things. My challenge to you would be to literally write that person a letter of gratitude. And it might take you months like it did me. You might completely be full of shit and be like, you're great. Thanks for the experience of the past. Fuck you, right? Whatever it is. I promise you, like, the only way that I have found to rewrite this game and to change this narrative is in forcing myself to find the gratitude, because it is there. I don't give a fuck how bad your past relationship was. I don't care how bad mommy was. I don't care how bad of a drunk dad was. I don't give a fuck how many times your wife cheated on you or your husband wronged you, right? I promise you, like, deep down, there is a level of gratitude that you will find. And when you find that and truly live that, not just, oh yeah, fine, well, I don't really give a fuck about them anymore. You're still drinking the poison. Mm-hmm. You're still gulping that shit. You have to be able to truly find gratitude for that person. When you do that, it is one of the most liberating, freeing, empowering things that you could ever do as a human being. Mm-hmm. To literally, quote unquote, find gratitude for someone who has wronged you. Mm-hmm. Find gratitude for someone that has hurt you. Finding that gratitude, creating that gratitude for someone who has deceived you, lied to you, tried to hurt you, tried to break you. There is nothing more gangster. There is nothing more liberating. No. There is nothing more powerful. Here's why. Because you now control the game. How many times do you hear a song that comes on the radio that was you and your ex's? And instantly there's an emotional reaction. Maybe it's anger. Maybe it's frustration. Maybe it's sadness. Maybe you cry. Oh, woo, whatever, mm-hmm. right? You see them passing in a store. You drive past them in a car. Oh, there's that frustration, that anger. Mm-hmm. I know this and can tell you this as someone who has fucking done it himself. And it was so unbelievably difficult for me. So unbelievably difficult for me. I remember very vividly the experience of seeing my ex at a car wash. Mm-hmm. This is a woman who lied to me, who cheated on me, who deceived me, who gaslit the fuck out of me. And I remember very, very, very vividly going through this experience of finding the gratitude for it. And I remember calling my friend right after mm-hmm. and saying, dude, you're never going to believe who I just saw. And I told him who I saw. He's like, how do you feel? And I was like, I didn't feel anything. Yeah. I thought I would feel like, I thought I would have that emotional reaction to it. And I realized that in that moment that I had gratitude for that person. Mm-hmm. I had significant gratitude for that person. And that was when I knew like I won. Yeah. Not won against her, but won me. Yeah. I won the game in the battle of overcoming my own demons, my own bullshit, my own ego, my own trials, my own wanting to drink the poison. And I can tell you without question that the reason that our relationship is the way that it is because you and I both live this shit. Yep. Are we perfect? Fuck no. Are we nope. Are we walking on water? Not the last time. I tried a couple of times and I fucking went straight to the bottom. But I will tell you that I know for a fact that you carry around grace and gratitude for your past. Mm-hmm. And it's real. It ain't fake. It ain't just to fucking get into something new. It ain't to like butter up and patch up something that you don't want to deal with. Like you truly carry around grace and gratitude for where you've been, who you've been with, what experiences you've had. And I think that maybe you would say the same thing absolutely. About where I am and absolutely. Where I've been and the people and seeing our kids the other day at prom and seeing my ex-wife and I sent her, a message afterwards, like, how beautiful is our daughter? And she's like, oh. She just said the sweetest thing back about like, we built this, like, I'm proud of us. She's like, I'm proud of us for building what we have now. And she did the same thing. She had to overcome her own shit too. Yeah. But to be able to stand there on the steps with our kids in true gratitude, true love, not some hocus pocus, airy fairy, we do it for the gram bullshit, but really having gratitude for this woman, dude, it's a game changer. I truly, like, I didn't tell you this, but she sent me this text message after this, and I felt like I responded with pure love. I was like, I love this woman. Like, I love where we are. I love what we've built. And it was like, it was weird, man. That was really, truly, and I could say it here, like literally like live right now. Like, it's the first time that I truly felt love for my ex-wife since we were married. Mm-hmm. I've had gratitude and I felt grateful for where we are, but I was like, I truly love this woman. Like, I love where we are. I love what we've built. I love that, like, she is working on this like I'm working on this, that she appreciates it like I appreciate it. Like, she's finding the gratitude like I'm finding the gratitude. And it was like, it was really, really, really cool, man.
That's so cool.
It was overwhelming, but I realized, like, that's really why we have the relationship that we do. That's the reason that we have the relationship with our kids that we do.
Yeah.
And it is without question one of the most difficult things that a human being will do, because a lot of us want to have the blame. It's really easy to carry around blame. It's really easy to be a victim. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to say, well, I got fucked over and I got wronged and this, that, and the other. And I promise you, you'll surround yourself with other victims. You'll surround yourself. You'll find yourself in the same scenario, the same relationship, because you will literally bond over the victim conversation. You will bond over the trauma. You won't bond over gratitude. You won't bond over newness. You won't bond over doing what it is that we've done, which is overcoming and owning our own shit. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the next level of the game. So my challenge to you guys is to find the gratitude. And it took me 14 months of her even saying thank you. To put that in perspective, like, fuck, we do something for 5 days and then we quit. We go to the gym on January 1st, we go for a week and then we're done, right? Uh-huh. We quit so fucking easy as human beings. Imagine 14 months having no response to anything. It might take you years. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is, like, the second that you put down that poison, friends, like, that's true freedom.
Yeah.
That's true, true, true freedom. That is true freedom. You own your heart. You own your mind. No one dictates where that goes. You dictate where that goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like my final thought on this. This is like powerful. I'm over here crying. Is I was just telling Jeremy this yesterday, our videographer, and I said, if people truly knew the power of the energy that they put out in the universe, and I know I speak a lot about this, but it's, if you believe even a small amount, just hang on to this. It's, if the people that have wronged me the most, I send the most love to. Mm-hmm. Because if I know that if my heart is good and I have gained greatness because of my experiences, I look at those people like those are karmic soulmates. They came in to wreck some shit. They're literally God sent. Mm-hmm. Say, here, grow, motherfucker. Like, experience this and do something with it. You're either going to go down or you're going to rise. And those people, the scenarios I mentioned in this podcast, those people I pray for the hardest. It's that I have gained so much greatness based on that experience. And all I want to do is love them back. It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you do that, if you put that out there, my hope is that when the hurt people, if I'm sending that much love there, that somehow that affects them into becoming greater themselves. And I only want to send love towards those that have harmed me. Truly, because I want to see more healing and more love evolve. And even if it's hocus pocus, I don't care, because it makes me feel better. It's all a perspective on, I know that I'm contributing goodness. I'm not contributing the more hurt to the world around us.
Amen, babe.
Oh,
amen.
Goodness gracious.
That's a good conversation. I think that's a good place to leave it.
Same.
I think that the work we've both done and the work we continue to do.
Yeah, every day.
Continue to do every single day is what's helped us get to where we are. And again, where we are is where we are. Is it bigger, better, faster, stronger than anybody else? I don't fucking know. All I know is it's where we are. And I love where we are and I love what we're doing. So guys, quit drinking the poison. Gratitude. It might be difficult. It might take a long time. But the reality is, when you get to a place where you can own you and own that place and truly love, and truly appreciate and truly have gratitude for the people that have quote unquote hurt you the most or wronged you the most or lied to you the most or cheated on you the most or deceived you the most, that's next level shit. Mm-hmm. That's when you'll find true happiness. That's when you'll try to find true freedom. Amen.
True freedom, baby.
Amen. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please like, please comment, please share this podcast. If you had any type of nugget, if you got something from this, we truly appreciate it. It's something we love seeing grow. And we're grateful that you tuned in today. Thanks so much.
I love you.
Love you. Bye.
Y'all.
See ya.